call the October 27th, 2025 Jackson County Commission meeting. I'd say thanks for everyone being here. We have a couple items in our new business portion of the meeting tonight, and we have several items for discussion in our work session. At this time, I would like as Ms. Johnson, Assistant County Administrator, please call the roll.
District 1, Commissioner Gully.
Present.
District 2, Commissioner Kennemer.
Present.
District 3, Commissioner Buckner.
Present.
District 4, Commissioner McBride.
Present. Do have a quorum. With that, if someone would please stand, I'll turn off our invocation, and I will read our pledge of allegiance. Thank you.
God, our Father in heaven, we are thankful for so many different things. We're thankful to be able to live in this county, to enjoy the natural beauty around us, but also the people that occupy this wonderful county. So God, we're thankful for these blessings. We're thankful for all the people who serve us in a public way in so many different areas. They postpone things that they want to do to be able to serve us, and they also sometimes put their lives in harm's way for us. So God, we're thankful for them. We pray for them. We pray you keep them safe and healthy, give them wisdom and discernment, compassion as they make decisions about the people of this county, and also be with their families, because we know that they carry a burden also. God, we pray they watch over us and guide us all. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In your packet tonight, you have the agenda for tonight's meeting. One item I would like to address is item under new business, item 6D, motion to approve budget amendments. We will ask that we delete that from tonight's agenda. County Administrator, Mr. Hamrick is sick with the flu, and the doctors advised that he should not be here. And so I will ask that we delete that, and we will put that on new business portion of the regular part of that meeting. So with that, do I have a motion to approve the October 27th, 2025 agenda with the deletion of new business item 6D, motion to approve budget amendment?
Make a motion for the agenda as amended.
We have a motion, to have a second.
Second.
So a second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. I don't think we have any awards or presentations tonight. They do have a speaker. So, Mr. Argo, podium there, please. And you've been spoken before, so you know I need to ask you a couple of questions. Number one, are you representing yourself or?
Yeah.
Representing yourself. And would you please state your address, please?
392 Holiday Shores Road.
Well, we do that just for the record. So, thanks very much. And at this time, I'll give you 3 minutes to speak.
Okay. Unfortunately, I'm here again. I have sent email to the commission's office and I've called multiple times. I've had phone calls returned, emails returned. I don't know if y'all have seen the video that goes to y'all or what, of the roadway water that's like 4 or 5 inches coming down the road right to my property. I've been here, well, I don't know how many times now, maybe 4 or 5 times. Still nothing's happening. Can't plant grass for the little one to even play in the yard because it's a new home. She can't do anything because it washes right back out. It's washing the road away. I need something done at least with the ditches to keep the water off my property so I can, live there. So I don't know what we have to do, but something has to be done. I don't want to go to further steps that have to such a simple issue be fixed.
Okay, anything else? Let me ask any questions. If not, one comment that I will make for you. Certainly, the county engineer has been out to take a look. I've been out to take a look. We understand the condition. But we also understand that that property is on a private development was never turned over to the county.
It's public road that y'all are
It
responsible
is
for
not
public road.
road. So
Yes, it is. So we can put a toll booth up if it's not public road.
It is not a road that has been taken under control of the county. It was developed privately by a private developer.
Well, Marshall
And-
County's
and-
portion has been taken care of. They just paved all the roads. So if it was private roads, why did Marshall County just
I don't
pave
need
their
to argue
portion?
with you, sir. I'm just trying to give you the information. That 60 acres was developed privately, never turned over. It is Jackson County, and I know you pay taxes. But we are, by law, we cannot spend county money on private property. And I'll ask county attorney, I think I'm right on that.
That is correct. The roads were never taken into county inventory. They may be public roads, but they're not county roads. Can't work on them. The roads are not part of the county inventory, so we just can't work on those roads.
I don't know.
And
tell you-
Marshall County may do something different. That's up to them. But in Jackson County, we can't work on those roads.
I'm just stuck with our roadway water coming right
I'm
to.
sorry you're in that condition, but it is private land. We cannot spend county money. And we have investigated, how that was turned over that way and, but it is clear it's private property.
So we can't get it. Marshall County's more than willing to take over, but we need it. I mean,
That's up to Marshall County for them to go through their commission to, approach the legislature to do that. And then that would have to be an act of consideration between Jackson County and Marshall County, and they have not approached us with it. Okay, so we do understand your situation, but based by law, we cannot spend county money. Okay, with that, we'll move into the new business portion of the agenda. First is the minutes of the September the 22nd, 2025 meeting work session is in your packet. I'll give you a moment to take a look at that. So with that, do I have a motion to adopt the minutes for the September 22nd, 2025 meeting work session?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Second. Second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Next item we discussed in the last meeting in the work session. Usually, when our Christmas falls on on a Thursday, we extend the holiday, the Christmas holiday to the Friday, which would be the 26th. And so, with that, do I have a motion to add December the 26th, 2025 to the Jackson County holiday schedule?
Motion.
We have a motion. To have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any questions? Not all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next item of new business, in your packet is an agreement between the Jackson County Commission, in particular the COA and the Mountain Lakes Behavioral Health Care. It is an agreement with Mountain Lakes for us to provide transportation services for their patients. This is an annual agreement that we approve. The scope of services is written there to provide specific transportation for Mountain Lakes. Period of performance is November the 1st, 2025 through September the 30th, 2026. And the payment for project expenses, the agency agrees to reimburse COA at the approved allocated cost, rate per mile, or rate per hour for contracted services. They ask Director Coleman, any comments?
What you just spoke on, that's usually about $12,000 to $14,000 in revenue for us if you pass this agreement. And there's no changes with the rate or mileage or anything from last year's agreement.
Okay, with that, do I have a motion to approve and sign the resolution agreement with Mountain Lakes Behavioral Health Care for Council on Aging? Amen. We have a motion to have a second.
Yeah, second that.
We have a second. Any questions? If not, all in favor, say aye. Motion carries. Thank you. That's the last item that we have. As I said, we will move the budget amendment to review this for our next meeting. We have 3 items in work session. First item, you have in your packet a proposed courthouse animal policy. And we've had several incidents in the courthouse where people have come in with comfort animals. And there has been some that have been brought in that have demonstrated aggressive behavior. So it is, I think, imperative that we do have a policy about what animals can be brought in, conditions that can go in, not just to the courthouse, but any Jackson County building. So let me turn it over to County Attorney Mr. Porter, who has drafted the proposed policy for the commission.
You should have a copy of the draft in your packet, in it. Basically, designed to prevent animals of any kind to be in a county building. That applies to the courthouse, to the new annex, to public works building, COA, any county building. Prohibit animals of any kind from entering the buildings. There is an exception that is explained in the policy for a person who qualifies as a disability under Americans with Disability Act. Some of those, if they have a disability, a true disability that is recognized under ADA, then they have the right to bring an animal, a dog, only a dog. Only dogs are recognized under ADA, and miniature horses sometimes, but mostly dogs are recognized as appropriate animals to assist for specific disability, but they have to be trained for that disability, and they have to be able to show that they are able to carry out whatever that function is. The easiest example is a person who's blind. They need a seeing eye dog, what we would normally refer to as a seeing eye dog. And that's pretty clear. I think the deputies can see that. They're manning the door. The policy provides that the deputies on the door, whoever is providing security, makes the initial determination whether or not that animal fits the exception or not. And if the owner of the animal is not satisfied, then they can request the supervisor to make a determination. And then that's the end of it. The supervisor makes the final determination. So it should be pretty clear cut from our standpoint.
Sheriff, anything?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. Yeah, the biggest problem we're having is these comfort dogs. And obviously I've got 3 dogs and they're all comfort dogs to me. But that's not a recognized disability as far as I know. And they seem to be the ones that are causing the problems. Obviously, if somebody's blind, they need to see an eye dog. That's not a problem. And I know that there are people that have seizure dogs that alert them a few seconds before they have a seizure, which allows them to sit down. I'm familiar with that. I've seen that in action. So obviously that would be something that would be need to be allowed. But these mere comfort dogs, because I need a dog to comfort me because I'm having a bad day, this doesn't seem to me like it's something we need in here, especially when we've had 2 incidents where they have showed some aggression. Now, they weren't mean dogs, and I was able to pet one of them and wagging his tail, but it did go after somebody and it scared them. And I think if they knocked somebody over, some older person or bit some child, then we would have a little bit of liability there, allowing them to come in. So that was my biggest concern when we came to the commission about that. So I appreciate you looking into that.
Well, this does, of course, not affect like Rick coming in with his dog. He can bring, that's a full dog's considered an officer.
Yeah, and that's going to be limited now anyway. So we've got 2 canines now. That one is not certified any longer, so there's no reason for that dog to be here right now until it's recertified. The other dog, he doesn't bring it in. He doesn't believe in bringing it to public. It's a working dog. That's the way working dogs are supposed to be.
Do y'all still share those for activities at school, demonstration? Y'all still do
We don't. The one dog that's not certified any longer, it still can be used for that. Yes.
that? My niece used to come home.
Yes. The other dog will not be used for that. It's merely a working dog.
So is there some form of documentation for these service animals, or is this, I'm just thinking of a person that once they learn, oh, I have seizures, I can have my comfort dog, because it tells me, I mean, is there some protection for us so that it doesn't become a loophole?
There is no certification.
The two we had an issue with actually went online and had a certification done online with no inspection, no training, no nothing. So that's the biggest issue we have with that. I don't know if there's certification for seeing eye dog or seizure dog.
Well, there are certifications, but none that fit ADA. There are levels of certification because there are comfort dogs that you see a lot of people have that are not in any way qualified.
The only other thing that I could think of besides seizure that I've seen, obviously, it's the ones that fence the blood sugar levels and, you know, with some diabetics. I was hoping that there was something that wouldn't make it a point of contention at our entry level, because it's enough stress as it is.
Oh, wait till we get to the next topic.
Just
It's going to
monitoring.
be worse.
Yeah, so, okay.
Yeah, no, there is not, in fact, ADA prevents the, says the person does not have to provide any kind of proof other than answering the two questions that they can be asked, and they're in the policy. They can ask those questions, and if the person responds appropriately, then you can't require any proof. You can't require proof.
And so, but we're protected because if they do show any behavior, they can be removed.
Right.
Okay, all right.
And no, the policy also provides that animals in any location have to be on leash and within so if they take them to the park, take them to the grounds at any location, they still have to be leashed and under the control of the owner at all times.
So this is something, do we need to have a signed policy for our grounds so that we can say on this property, you know, if this area is under that, then our parks under that, our buildings, you know, so that there's not a confusion on where I can take my comfort dog and where I can't.
Well, in one circumstances, we actually got told we could possibly be sued because per ADA, because it was comfort dog. This person had PTSD.
So do y'all have them trying to bring them on the bus?
That's what I was gonna ask. Does this cover our public transit vehicles?
That's
Because they're gonna want to do that.
says any other county building, we could change it to
I think that would be a good
Do
idea.
that in
including vehicles. I'll add that.
transportation.
We have service animals. We haven't had the emotional support dogs or anything yet, but it's gonna happen eventually. So that would help.
Yeah.
Help us as well.
I can amend that.
And I could see somebody coming to spend the day at COA and then.
We have passengers with service animals, but we haven't had this situation yet, but it's just a matter of time. So that would help us.
Yeah.
I have another question. I'm not myself crazy. Do we have to clean up after the dog?
Yeah.
I mean, it's in there? Okay.
Question I have is, by the statute, it says that the service animal is defined as any dog that is individually trained to do the work or perform tasks for the benefit of an individual. Is one of the questions to explain how it was trained?
Two questions. It says, may be asked if the dog is required because of a disability recognized as a disability under ADA and to describe the specific work or task the dog has been trained for. And Eric mentioned PTSD, that is a recognized disability. Unfortunately. And you can have there are, you get into with vets, a lot of veterans that have PTSD and they have comfort dogs. They are allowed.
Two instances I remember in courthouses, one dog was brought in and started aggressively barking at other people that were in the courthouse multiple times.
Including you, I think.
But that's okay. But the other people was not. The other was, we had a dog in that was claimed to be a comfort dog and one instead of a small dog. So it did not bite or hurt, but it was an aggressive move. And so we want to preclude those kinds
Yeah,
of.
even dogs that qualify, if they are aggressive, they can be removed. Even if it is an ADA qualified event, they can be removed.
Okay, any other questions? Put this on the business agenda for the next meeting. Any questions about that? If not, we'll move to the next item. In your packet are two letters from the city of Scottsboro Solid Waste Authority. The first was the letter that we received, the letter is dated. There was a vote by the board at solid waste on the 9/8/25 to increase our rates for disposal of our solid waste. We did make a request to reconsider that, and we have a section where they elected, the board elected to postpone the county landfill rate increase until January. This rate increase, I noticed occurred after we had approved our budget. When we got to it, and this doesn't provide a significant increase to the cost of our solid waste department. So let me turn it over to Director Skipper to discuss this and what the implications are, what the cost impacts are, and what alternatives are we looking at for this?
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioner. So like you just spoke, you got those letters. The first one was received on September 9th, 2025. And then on September 24th, Mr. Nance sent a letter back to them. And then on October 1st, we received the last letter. They said they would do. They had the letter, so I'll skip that part. So kind of a background. In August, the city of Scottsboro added a $1 per ton state fee. That was a fee that they've been paying for several years now, that the state requires. The city of Scottsboro has been eating it. Well, in August, the city of Scottsboro passed it on to the customers coming through. So we got a $1 per ton fee added in August. And then in January, they postponed it to where another $5 is going to hit us. So in January, we're looking at $6 per ton that we didn't budget for during budget time. So what we're looking at on the total impact on tonnage, we're looking at, this is based off of year 2025 tonnage. We're looking at $97,000 that we didn't budget for if we go by those tonnage off of a $6 increase. So to offset that, the commission approved to do a 2% increase going forward. That was a couple years ago. We've been doing that. Y'all looked at the need for the cost of trucks and everything else, that we need a 2% increase. So now we need something on top of that 2% increase to cover the $97,000 right now. Now, again, we're growing. The county's growing. Y'all know it. So we can either, a couple options I've got, we can either do nothing and keep eating it. I don't think that's an option we need to do. But, our budget is included. We give the commission $130,000. That $130,000 in 2025 helped give that 1% cost of living. So we don't want that to cover it, because that also gets the employees a cost of living raise. So we need something else to cover the cost. We started the Sylvania transfer station. We've been dumping out there for Sand Mountain garbage, and that's saved us some. The amount that I'm looking at, annual savings is about $36,000 if we keep doing that. If we dump our Valley and our Cumberland Mountain, garbage in Hollywood, City of Scottsboro, and then we dump our Sand Mountain garbage at Henniker's Transfer Station in Sylvania. That'll save us roughly $36,000, what we're looking at right now. So we're still 61,000, we're looking at, we need to come up with, if we keep doing the transfer station and if they don't go up too, because everyone's going up. Everyone is going up.
You had that conversation with him?
So Henniker is in the process of building a bigger transfer station. They're adding on to it. They're looking at, I talked to their mayor the other day, he's looking at roughly January, where they can take more. Right now, they are not set up to take all of our trucks. We can only take about 3 to 4 trucks a day, and we'll have 6 to 7 trucks running a day. So even the Sand Mountain garbage, right now, we can't take all of it out there because they're just not set up for it just yet. January, they will be.
And we can take it to Sylvania.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, all into Sylvania.
Not right now.
Okay.
January, we should be able to. So a couple options, increase our rate. That's one option. Do nothing's one option. Divert everything to transfer station at Henniker in January when they can take it. That's another option. And then third option is a rate increase. And then fourth option, it's a long-term solution, but it allows us to haul our garbage to Sand Valley or Scottsboro would be built on transfer station. I just wanted to kind of throw out different options to y'all.
If we were to increase our cost to residents, and I'll tell you up front, I certainly prefer that we not do. But it's an option. So I understand what that does to our residents. What would be the rate increase in dollar amounts from what to cover this?
So to cover this, we're looking at a 6%. Because again, we're doing a 2% increase and we can't do away with it. We did that for a reason to cover everything else. So we can't just add that to it. So we got to do what we need. So a 4% increase will cover this. So we need a 6% January 1. And a 6% increase, it's still going to be competitive with Scottsboro. Scottsboro is, so Huntsville, give you for example, was $16.50 a month. January of this year, they went up to $21.50 a month. And 3 years from now, they're going up to $24.50. 3 years after that, they're going up to $27.50. So Scottsboro right now is at $17.73, and next year they're going up to $18.26. And we're at $16.65 a month right now.
So how much would be the increase on our customers?
I thought I wrote it down. Let me add that up.
You said 1665 now.
It'll be $17.65 a month.
It'd be basically $1 increase.
Dollar increase. So Huntsville did a $5 increase January. Scottsboro did close to $1 increase.
But how long will that get us if we did the increase, and I'm certainly not for an increase, I'm not saying that. I mean, how long is that going to be before we have to go again?
Well, you got to look at that. That's a good question because Scottsboro, they did implement, and I want to break this down too. The commission recognized that we needed to do something, and y'all made the tough decision. Y'all went up, and y'all said, "Hey, we're going to do 2% going forward."
Right.
Well, after that, the city of Scottsboro went up. They voted to go up 3% for the next 25 years. So the commission, y'all didn't put a term limit. What I found, it's just 2% going forward. So city of Scottsboro did a 3%. So again, even with this increase, they're going to go up 3% next year.
Is there a reason why they're going up? We know that there's a reason. Is there?
I mean, it's just cost.
Rate going up?
It's cost. Everything's going up. Your cans, your trucks. It's everything is going up. It's not, y'all know, I mean, y'all are businessman, cost of living has went up.
I remember right, we knew they were going up 3% increase.
And we agreed to
So we expected that, knew that beforehand. And so we, made a decision to not go up so much, just to do it 2% at that time.
Yeah.
But now, the tipping fee is increasing.
And again, so Scottsboro is going up. This $6, I mean, it's $6 on us. But they're still below what it costs any of us to go dump on an evening or, a day we take off work. Their public dollar amount is 50 something dollars a ton. So we're at 46.75 a ton. So again, next year they can say, let's just do away with that and just go to the 50 something dollar. They could. I don't know what they're going to do.
Let me get back to Mr. McBride, the comment. The dollar only gets us to cover the increased expense of this one-time rate. So we would then still have to have an annual rate increase to keep pace with where they're going. We'd still be under their $3.
Yeah.
So we would have to maintain some kind of rate increase on a monthly basis. This is a significant increase on.
You hate to do it, but it's just business. You got to pay for it. Our budget this year with this increase, we're only profiting about $30,000. So
we got Sylvania, we're carrying there. They can carry a larger number of vehicles there as of 1 January. Are there other locations that we could carry garbage?
So I reached out to Huntsville. Huntsville will not take Jackson County garbage. They've got a contract where they're only taking Madison and Limestone. Marion County, they will take our garbage, but October 1, they just went up to about $62 a ton. $62 a ton, I believe, is what they quoted. It was just, it's way too much. But Sand Valley, I went over and met with their general manager and toured it. Their landfill is probably 4 or 5 times the size of Scottsboro's. I mean, it is a big operation. And I've talked to them and they gave me some not on the paper quotes that they would charge us. But it's one of those things, it's all or none. They don't want a few trucks to give us that rate. They want all of our garbage. They operate in our county. They got front load dumpsters. They got about 90 customers in the county. That it's generating, I think they said $400,000 a year. So there's another option for us to look at revenue is on the franchise. We're franchising residential. If we franchise, just say we franchise commercial front load. We don't franchise the roll-off business. We just do the front load business because there's nobody in the county mom and pop doing that I know of. It's all Waste Management or Public, the bigger companies. So if we franchise that, that's potential for about $200,000 to $300,000 that we could bring in to help offset some of this too.
Now, let me go back to if we were to use them for all of our garbage service, do you have an idea what would be the increased cost of vehicles traveling?
So we couldn't haul it there. We would have, only way we could take it there is we'd have to have a transfer station. We would have to have a transfer station to take it there.
Which would be a cost to build a transfer.
It'd be a cost. Now, one thing they did say is if we had a transfer station, they said they would haul it for us. That we wouldn't. Now, there'd be a contract with that. They're going to charge us, but we wouldn't have to get the upfront of the trucks and the trailers. They would operate that.
Where's Sand Valley's?
Fort Payne, Collinsville.
Have any idea of the cost of transfer station?
So that's a
Big question.
That's a big question because I mean, what do you want? Do you want a transfer station that we can have customers come to? Because if that's the case, then we need a scale. There's $250,000. We need a bigger bay. We need some employees operating it. Or do we just need a shell of a building where we can dump our garbage and have them haul it. I think that's all we need right now. I think that would be our answer is not do business just of our own and just handle ours. Because our trucks, they go back to our office every day. Well, we will save money. I do believe transfer station long term is an answer for us.
Were you working on numbers for that?
I've reached out, but it's just, I mean, I'm to the point now where I'm about to the point now where I'm just gonna call somebody that builds a building and say, hey, give me a price to build a building. And everybody else is just, they're all over.
Yeah, I think we asked in the last discussion we had, if you could reach out to someone and say, how much did it cost them? Maybe Sylvania.
Yeah.
How much did it cost them to
Yeah,
build a truck?
Sylvania, they're at $1 million, right now. That was an existing, now they had to buy a scale. They had to buy 2 tractors. They had to buy 3 trailers. So, those trailers are $100,000 a piece. And I think they were used. So, I mean, and that was an existing building. Now they're building or adding on to it. But again, so simple math, we got say 14,000 tons a year right now. Sand Valley's looking at close to $10 cheaper a ton.
Of existing or increased rates?
Of the increase. Rates. So we're looking at $140,000 a year in savings if we had a transfer station and they gave us those prices. So
It's true.
I-
Well, I understand.
If they first.
Yeah.
Point is, we need to look into it. We need to keep real numbers. One note I would make to you talked about what the cost would be to us. You only save 36,000 by going to Sylvania. That leaves you said, I think 67,000.
yes, sir.
Your margin this year, whenever we did your budget, was just at $100,000. So that cuts your margin, current budget, if we were to eat it, it cuts your margin down to about $30,000 to $40,000.
Yes.
And you pay for new trucks and those kind of things on a margin that you make off your service. So
Yeah, we
can create a problem for us. So
Yeah, I got a quote today because we need a new roll off. We need to trade in our old one and buy a new one. And a new roll off is $249,000. But y'all, it's all over Alabama, the increase. You don't want to, but the state average, what we're looking at, the numbers that I got is anywhere from $20 to $25 a month is what come January people are gonna be paying for garbage. And I think that's something with our new software system that we're getting. It's gonna go live hopefully in January is what we're looking at. We've got all the trucks but one that's got the cameras on it. Is we used to bill monthly and then we switched over to quarterly. And I think that's something we can look at is go back to billing monthly. Because it's easier for somebody to pay $20 this month than it is $60 for a quarter. And I think that would help too. And there's a few other things that we could look at doing to help our customers.
You and I have talked about this before because it's my own personal reality. I drag my can out to the road about once every 3 months. And I know we have a lot of temporary folks, particularly in District 4, where they don't necessarily come very often.
Yeah.
And I'm, could we look at some kind of,
Absolutely. We've talked about it and I've looked into it. I've talked to when I go to these conferences and stuff, I ask these other directors, what do y'all do with this? One option that I like that I think we can eventually do once we get the camera system is have a different color can. Say have a yellow can and that's first of the month pickup. Let's just say that. And the drivers will know you only dump that can first week of the month. All right. But we're going to charge you a discounted rate. Okay. But, you have to go up on everybody else, because we're gonna have a lot of customers. But, I mean, my family, we put it out maybe every week. So I get a lot of questions about that, but you're gonna have a lot of customers that are gonna jump to that, and then you're about to lose a lot of revenue.
I'm,
But yes,
I'd like it all viewed because, I mean, to me, again, and I'm not complaining because it is what it is. It's just cost of living.
now you're in Scottsboro, so you have to talk.
I know,
Scottsboro.
I know who's talking. And it's not a make it or break it for me, but when knowing that there's people in similar situation, start talking about an escalation of price, when it's something you don't use. What we don't want people to do is go, well, that's fine, I just won't participate, and if I don't participate, then I'm gonna do a trash barrel in the back, or I'm gonna haul it off in the woods, or I'm gonna sneak over to my neighbor's house and drop it there. And that kind of stuff.
And if they can't afford it, we're set up to handle that. We have 500 exempt customers. We have some on poverty level. We take care of them the best we can. Another option that we're looking, you got that situation where you don't put out, you can, but every now and then, but then also you got bigger families that can really only afford one can, but they need to.
Yeah, here's what I would like. I would like every viable alternative you have explored from a perspective of if we're going to dump garbage at Henniger, we're going to dump garbage in Hollywood. We're going to partner with anybody that is an option, and then of course we got to look at mileage. We got to look at the potential of a transfer station. All of these things, I want to be able to go to apples, saying if we go this route, this is what it's going to cost us. Because at the end, we can't come up with a 2-month solution and sever ties. We've got to be able to say this is how we're going and we're going forward. And Commissioner McBride and I have asked ourselves multiple times, what would it take for us to go into the dump business? Because apparently that's not too bad a gig there. So what would that look like as far as?
I'd say stay away from it as far as you can. I mean, that cost to build a cell, I think Scottsboro's looking at 6 to 8 million to build a cell to last 10 years. Okay. And then you got to buy the equipment, and then you got to get the employees. From talking amongst colleagues and different ones, you're going to do something long-term to a transfer station. Because even when that landfill fills up and closes, we are still responsible for that till end of time. Once it closes, you got to have somebody checking it for leachate, making sure it ain't bleeding. That's a can of worms that we don't want.
Yeah, I know nothing about this. And so for me, I think you get my point though, is I don't want our option to be a option. I want to have multiple options where we can look at this and say, if we go down this route, down to the point of we're going to have to hire this many more people, we're going to have this many more equipments, and it's going to be this many more miles, because all of that factors in. And I think at that point, we're either having to plead our case to our customers and saying this is why rates are going up, or look at what we did as an investment, and maybe this rate comes down in the future or whatever. So I think.
So I'm gonna give you a couple, three options to look at. I agree with Mr. Burton. Particularly the apples to apples.
Right.
We're looking full cost, all cost to us associated with any option we look at. I do think we need to look at the cost of the transfer station. Mr. Goley said, let's get the real cost of that, or what we need to service ourselves. The first thing I say, service ourselves if nothing else, and then work with Sam Valley or whoever. We also need to look at the Scottsboro option and consideration of a negotiation with Scottsboro that we would have. See if we can negotiate that price down some, and then that would then also look at the Scottsboro Sylvania split as of 1 January, and what that is in negotiated price for those. But you gotta look at what would be the rates we would have to charge for each one of those options. Now, you may have other options to look at with those three, but you gotta have a rate that we're gonna pass on to a customer if we implement that rate. Deal with it, looking at the transfer station, a big part of that discussion is how do we fund to put a transfer station in, because that's gonna be an upfront, short-term build, where we're putting a lot of money into it in the short term, and how we'll have to look at. So, any others?
That's pretty easily said, a lot of work.
At the end of the day, there's a lot of power in negotiation. In the landfill business, the city of Scottsboro needs their largest customer as much as the largest customer needs the city of Scottsboro. So if we go our own way, it's definitely going to hurt them. And if they go their own way, it's going to hurt us. So there's a lot of power in negotiation.
So we'll look at those. If you come up with another option, you just let us know. But
One thing on the transfer station, I've, like I said, I've reached out to different ones, but these are people that get paid to do this stuff, so they really don't want to turn it over. So are y'all wanting something, me just coming up, going out and measuring buildings and concrete pads and getting my own quote? Or do we want to look at somebody that does it, like a firm or somebody that does this?
Get with me, I'll help you deal with some folks and we'll figure out the cost.
all right.
And then last thing is, again, I would just really want y'all to consider the franchise on the commercial front load. I mean, that's a big revenue that we're leaving on the table. I met with Republic, their general manager. He's over Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Georgia. And he told me, he said, we're like the only county that he knows of that's not doing a franchise fee, where they can still operate. He said, but they base it off of their revenue. And he said, man, you're leaving a lot of money on the table.
That's a different, another action to look at.
Yes, sir.
It could help this decision. I understand that, but I think you need to get with, we need to understand what it takes for us to franchise. Okay, so that willing to step that as an action as well. Everybody okay with that?
We need to look at all options, but
Okay.
we don't need to, hurt private enterprise as well. We need to look at all options and examine everything and come up with what is best for us as a county as a whole. And franchising is it. I mean, it may be.
To bring the data to, and what you'd have to do and what would be the legal. I'm sure there'd have to be some kind of legal consideration.
Long term too, us carrying it to them versus them coming to get long term. Out of that.
Transfer station.
You can get an option for trucking and
Yeah,
trucking.
that's the only difference, is we'd have to buy trucks versus they come get it.
But again, at that, you need to see what their rate would be and compare that long term for what our costs will be on our employees and buying that equipment. And that way we need all the apples laid out.
The whole tree.
You're not gonna be ready with this by the next meeting, so this is, if we put a timeline on this. First meeting in December, that gives you 30 days to look at these. Fair? Can you get that together in that period of time?
I'll do my best.
Yeah. Thanks for looking at it. Next item on the agenda is sheriff's office, discussion is by staff. So let me turn it over to Sheriff.
Thank you again. Of course, I'm here, just full disclosure on what's going on with our office, and some of it, y'all been very fair with giving us 2 extra bodies, which we have not been able to fill, by the way. It's just hard to find people who want to be in law enforcement anymore. That has been going downhill for the last several years. We're starting to see a little bit of an increase. We've got one in the academy now who graduates in November. I got another one that's got to go to the academy. We're trying to hire another one before January. Send two to the academy, but those people are kind of useless to us until they get trained down the road and trained again when they get back in the academy. So we're still roughly 4 people short on the road. 2 investigators and 2 patrolmen, not counting the 2 that are in the academy, not going to the academy. The biggest concern right now is we've been one short full-time courthouse security deputy. We're about to be 2. Our lone full-time courthouse security deputy has turned his resignation in. It's effective next Wednesday. He's going to DeKalb County for $3 more an hour. Closer to his home. I can't blame the guy for doing that. But leaves us with the big problem, and this is not in my budget, this is actually in the commission's budget for courthouse security, is that we're down to 2 part-timers who cannot work every day. They can't physically work every day. They've got other things going on, they're retired, and they've been filling in pretty much full-time, one of them every day for the last 6 months or so. But starting next week, they'll be going every day, both of them, and they're just not going to be able to do it. I don't know an answer to it. The one option that I can throw out there is that we could pay deputies overtime to do it. Now that's a mix of budget because their normal salaries come from my budget. The courthouse security is a different budget. We've been told we couldn't do that in the past. I don't know if that's something to be fixed. I don't know if we can or not. The other issue we have with having deputies come in on their off days and work overtime is we're finding out with the new handbook and policies where if you're off one day during the 2-week period and you work overtime, you don't get paid for it. So you basically are losing money and working more hours, but losing money. So I would recommend there be, and I know I could probably change my people if I want to, but it just seems fair to me. In a lot of places say if you're off a day before or a day after, you can't get overtime, but not the whole 2 weeks. It's becoming an issue. We've had people have to work concert that took off one day prior to that, a week before that, and they couldn't get their overtime pay for it. So they basically were working for free. They still kept that off time, but they're basically working for free. They're not gaining anything by working that overtime. And I'm afraid that would be the same kind of situation we'd have if we had somebody we could work it out where they could work overtime at the door. I'm just throwing out options. And then today I find out we got another dispatcher who applied for a job in Scottsboro with 911, again, for about $2 more an hour. They're trying to raise their families. They're young people, and they're chasing a dollar. And I get it, but I just want to throw all that stuff out there to you. And I'm looking for options on mainly the courthouse security issue because we're going to have issues with that.
Let me ask you, is our big issue salary?
That's why people leave. That's why people leave.
Is that a hiring issue as well?
Probably, but the pool of applicants in law enforcement in general has gone down. Where we used to have 50 applications for one opening or no openings, we get 50 applications and have to sit there and hold until we got an opening. We've got 4 or 5 openings now, and we don't have 5 or 6 applications coming in that are even worth interviewing and doing PT tests for. Plus the fact that every time you hire somebody, it's $5,000 to send to the academy. Uniforms, vests, guns, all that other kind of good stuff, and they stay for. Now they have to stay for 3 years in law enforcement. Or the receiving agency has to pay us back at least the academy expenses. That's all they have to pay back. So we're just losing money every time we lose somebody. And it's not just in Jackson County. That happens in sheriff's office all over because sheriff's office in general are lower paid than city police officers because they have more options for tax base and things like that. So it's just an issue we've got. But right now, the biggest issue and the most concerning to me is that courthouse security spot. Next Wednesday, we got 2 part-timers that are going to be trying to work at least for a while on their own, but they're not going to be able to do it for long. And you can't just hire somebody off the road to do that because then they got to go to the academy. And it's not really a spot where a young person that's interested in law enforcement wants to be sitting at the door. That's more of a job that somebody's ready to retire in their last 4 or 5 years and they're ready to kind of tone it down a little bit. And, it's just gonna be a big problem starting next week. I just want to bring it to y'all's attention. I don't know the answer. I'm the sheriff. I gotta figure out what to do, but I'm asking for y'all's help on some options.
So that's a certified position.
Yeah.
You can't put a certified or private armed security or something.
Well, we talked about private security at one point. We wanted private security. I'm sure it would probably be cheaper. It's got some advantages and disadvantages. Cost would probably be a little bit cheaper than full-time people with benefits. Disadvantage is when somebody comes in to do a report at the courthouse, because people just seem to think they need to come to the courthouse to do a report. Now I got to bring deputies out off the road to do a report. So they're driving from Bryan or Woodville or Section or wherever to come, whoever's available to come do a report. And the people are having to wait. Then they're off the road and they're here at the courthouse plus gas mileage to get here. It just all adds up. It's a never ending cycle. But that's the disadvantage of it.
Are there any Scottsboro City retired officers that might be interested in that?
I've got one that has called about it, want to know what the price is for what the salary would be for it. And I don't know if he qualifies to make up more than a certain amount. I think since he's retired, he's not old enough yet. I got to get with Michelle on that, what the requirements are. He just called today about that. He's interested, but he won't know what pay would be.
What does it take in our pay to be competitive with our neighbors in the city?
I haven't got a comparison on what they're doing. My understanding is they're about to get another increase, which is probably going to hurt us more. I don't know exactly what they make. I can probably find out. We can't compare with Madison County and Huntsville, obviously. We'll never do that. But that's a different animal too. Obviously we do normally better than the smaller agencies, although some of them pay their people more starting than we do. Like I will say, throw Hollywood out there, paying their people more starting than we pay our people starting. And then we have to cover their area. Most part of the time, not all the time, but part of the time. So some of these small part-time agencies that don't give 24-hour, 7-day-a-week service, we have to cover them with deputies that are making less money than their full-time people.
I think it would be good for us to look at competitive ranges. So we lowered, that's why we're losing people. I know we have people going to other counties, so go to Scottsboro, go to other towns. Usually it's from them. Sometimes they get there and the time benefits are not.
That's right.
And they come back.
We've had quite a few.
I asked that question because we typically try to keep all employees in the county on the same. We do pay raises and those kind of things. This is a very critical job for the safety and security of the people of Jackson County. And so I think we need to know what the competitive range is. So at least we have that when we think about options.
We did a cost.
Options is that we raise road deputies rates and security rates. Maybe we have to look at it.
Well, we talked about that once again, but you raise the starting guy, then you got to raise the guy that's been there 2 years, and you got to raise the guy that's been there 5 years, and it's a never ending cycle when you do that. It's a lot of money. You and I discussed that once before.
We'll have to look at something.
But the main problem right now is this courthouse security. I'm concerned about that.
But you have the one application.
I'm not even an application, just a call.
And
he's retired, so he couldn't be full-time either. I've even reached out to some of the other part-timers and some of our retired deputies that have recently retired, and they're not interested.
going to have courthouse security, going to have patrol deputies out. I'm looking.
I can't take them off the road to put them in the courthouse. I just can't. Shorthanded enough as it is. It's a matter of finding that person that wants to work courthouse security.
don't have a quick answer right here. We just need to sit down and have some discussion among us.
For example, I do have a deputy that's interested in being with animal control, which we don't have now either. That's another spot that we don't have, but he's interested once we get to full speed. I can't tell him when that's gonna be. Just can't tell, don't know.
When you do get to full speed, will he still have that same desire?
I don't know.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to do some more thinking. We're gonna have to deal with this.
And I don't know if the overtime for off-duty deputies is something we can maneuver through the system. Since it's two different budgets, I don't know how that would work. I was told we couldn't do that at one time.
I'll look into it.
Okay, thank you.
That's the last item in the work session, so let me ask any comments from the Assistant County Administrator. No? County Engineer is not here today, County Attorney.
I don't have anything, thanks.
Have you got anything? Anything you'd like to say?
I think I brought enough bad news.
And just give you all a quick update on the building technology at the annex. Been working with T-Bird and me doing the network. We have almost all the cameras installed, but not recording yet. We have all the internet put in other than about 2 or 3 switches, which are still being shipped. Just waiting on shipping times for those to come from overseas. But we do have internet in the building. Back door badges are working over there, other than 2 doors. They were ordered with this needing extra power supply, and so they're having to come run 12 volts to it. So we're just waiting on that. But it's going good. We've got the whole probate side. I've got all the computers at their station. You guys happen to go there, you can kind of get a look, kind of what it's going to look like for the public when they come in. I think the extension office is, their IT is coming in this next week to look up their internet. Aaliyah is coming in the next couple of weeks. I think we're moving pretty smoothly technology wise and internet wise. I hope to get Wi-Fi in the next week or 2 as well there. So again, when the switches are fully in, I'll have every port in the building live. Right now we're 30-40%. So just want to let you guys
I have
know.
a quick note on parking lot. I talked with Penny Range today, with the week of dry weather next week. I think they will be able to get the chart in and then also then start putting in the communications architecture for the station, running those lines, and then put the gravel over. And once they do that, it'll be time to start the paving. At the same time, they're built, we've had to take out the sidewalks on the east side. If you looked at those sidewalks, it looked like you were going to be walking a roller coaster kind of thing because they were in terrible shape. And then the city requires that from the ADA compliance, where we have the ADA line, parking spaces, you got to have this sloped sidewalk to get up to, and it's got to have the bubble on it so people that have impaired vision will understand what they're on. So we're doing that. So that is progressing. I think that is going to be tight. I'll just be candid with you, but he tells me that they're going to make it. Hopefully we have some dry weather and it doesn't start freezing and then November through the day. So that's an update now. So let's go to our comments from our commission. Commissioner McBride.
Let's say thank you to all our employees for their hard work. Thank you, Ms. Hightower, for coming. She's here, like clockwork. She's here every time to report, and we appreciate you. Y'all be safe and home.
Mr. Butler.
I don't have anything further to add. Thank you.
Mr. Kinnaman.
As long as we don't have any new buildings being built in Alabama, that's the county commission to pay for. You read that, so make sure they take care of Florida, not Alabama. Kind of a comical deal.
Commissioner Gold.
I don't have anything that.
Yeah, I am gonna make a comment about this. In the North Jackson Press, it was released, the 24th of October. Says Jackson County unveils plans for new public safety complex. And you go and read it, says Jackson County, Alabama, but when you really dig into it, it's Jackson County, Florida. And somebody took a released article and I thought they were talking about Jackson County, Alabama, and published it. The only building we're working on is finishing the courthouse work, and we're working on the new Jackson County Courthouse Annex. Somebody want to give us some money, we'll get off of this. That's all I have. Again, thanks for everybody being here for you. Oh. That's a good. So, our next meeting will be November the 10th. We'll be here. And so with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Adjourn. Motion.
Motion, second,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Uh,
Motion to it. Thank you.